Hello everybody, welcome back to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, bringing a brand new spoiler-free review, and today I'm going to be talking about Peacemaker Season 2, Episodes 1 to 5. I do have to clarify, as I've been very fortunate enough in being sent these to watch by Warner Brothers. This is a show I've been very excited to see come back. That had an amazing first season, and something I was really interested to see, especially with the new DCU post-Superman. So, whilst there will not be any spoilers for Peacemaker in this, or Peacemaker Season 2, I will maybe talk about some of the events from the Superman film. I know that Superman releases on digital today, at the time of this embargo lifting, and that actually is in line with it being ready for Peacemaker, because the events of Season 2 do actually follow on from Superman to the smallest of extent. But that being said, I do want to hear people's thoughts on this, so please do comment your thoughts. Maybe you're watching in the future, you've seen a few episodes, do keep it spoiler free. And I will add right now, we will be doing a proper spoiler discussion when the second season has finished airing. I'll try and get some really cool guests on for that one, as I'd love to talk about the show with a few others. But that being said, let's talk about my thoughts heading into this. And I just mentioned about Superman. Really enjoyed that film. You can still catch the spoiler discussion with Neil from Get Your Comic Con on our channel. And this was something that made me really curious for Peacemaker, because I knew that the DCU was going to be starting with Superman, but we knew that Peacemaker Season 2 would be part of that. I haven't seen the trailers for Season 2 of Peacemaker. I'm only going off the episodes I've seen. But I was really curious, some parts worried at the idea of, okay, how do we take this first season that was in the old DCEU, that was part of Suicide Squad, which is excellent, which is also in the old DCEU, how can we now say this is in the DCU? That was a concern going in, and I'll talk about it a little bit later on. I then also had the very, very, very good fortune of seeing Creature Commandos. Is it finally released in England about 8 months later recently, which has Frank Grillo playing Rick Flag Sr. in that, which is also, I think I said Superman kicks out the DCU, sorry, Creature Commandos did. But that's actually very much worth watching ahead of this, because we get to learn a bit more about his character, what he's been through, what his like, as well as getting Frank Grillo to then do it in live action in this series and also in a couple of scenes in Superman. So there's been a bit of nerves going in. But that first season for me did so much. And if you follow this channel, you know we do wrestling stuff. Anyone that's into wrestling is probably buzzing at John Cena's sort of Hollywood career, the way it's going. Certainly he's going more in line with Batista than The Rock in terms of, I think, industry respect, the projects he's taken on board. And I think Cena has perfectly nailed Peacemaker. And not that I know the comic lore or the comic discussions, but that first season we got to see the action, we got to see comedy, but we got to see him doing drama. I'm not saying for the first time, but we got to see a different side of John Cena, varying his character, developing all those sorts of things. And I think this is the project that has sort of exploded him into Hollywood as well, that everyone's looked at him differently since Peacemaker. So it's a great win. And that first season I loved. I loved the ensemble cast. I loved Freddie Stroma that appeared. We've had Jennifer Holland, obviously, who's got much more of a role in this than her other DC stuff. We've also had Danielle Brooks, who I hadn't seen anything else before. And I loved the concept of that first season as well. So there was a lot to love. And as I said, there were some things to be nervous by, particularly more the DCU side of things. But if I start talking about the 5 episodes I've seen, because it's very difficult to do a review on a season of a show that I've only seen 5 episodes, and the ending of the 5th episode, don't worry, it's not a spoiler, is setting up a potential big 3-part finale. Or at least I think that's what it's trying to do. So we'll know in a few weeks' time. But if I'm going to give my thoughts on the season so far, I think that's probably the best way to do it. I've got to say, I am enjoying this in a different way to the first season. This season is far more interesting from a character perspective. We can take every single character, but maybe one who I talk about who I think's not the best of time so far. We can look at all the characters and their trajectory of what their careers. We look at the ending of season 1 when they released the documents. It's not all been hunky-dory. They're not this mega successful superhero swatting team teaming up to save the day. No. Everything has changed, and maybe for the worse, under Argus. And we get to see a more vulnerable Peacemaker, someone yearning for the family side of things. He's still trying to right the wrongs of his past. And there is no bigger obstacle in the way than Rick Flag Sr., but of course with him killing Rick Flag back in Suicide Squad. So each of our characters are presented with a bit more depth and a hurdle to overcome. And 5 episodes into the season, I can safely say, no, they have not been resolved because it's an 8-episode season. Make of that what you will. Now, we do know through the trailers there is a bit of multiversing. It's been discussed. It's been a core part of the story. I've got to say, it's very much impressed me. Now, I didn't see the trailers, but I knew this was visible throughout. It's been spoken about in the marketing campaign. I am glad I've kept away because my anticipation for what could have been is very different to what it is. And I like that the multiverse dynamic, for maybe the first time in a property of a superhero thing in recent years, the logic of the multiverse comes under this is story and character development and a part of where they are going versus we want to cameo A, B, and C, X, Y, and Z. Now, they can do that, but this sets up a fantastic story dynamic for Peacemaker. But the story is only as good as the supporting cast around him. And we've got Jennifer Holland playing Amelia Harcourt again, who actually has a lot more to do in the second season so far than the first. I think they're trying to develop her relationship with Peacemaker a little bit more. And this is very much a character that's playing in with the multiverse side of things. I like her performance in this. As I said, it's very tricky to talk about these characters 5 episodes out of 8, but where she is compared to where she's been, you could argue a bit more, not necessarily cocky in season 1, but she's more vulnerable in season 2. Like I sort of said with John Cena's Peacemaker, she hasn't had maybe the career she thought she would have after this, and we get a lot more time with her, and through this and her relationship with Rick Flag Sr., i.e. relationship on screen, not that sort of relationship, we get to see the disagreements, we get to see things from the Suicide Squad coming into things again, and I really like that whilst this is part of the new DCU, this is still referencing what has come before because it's an integral part to their stories, and I think it's set up a really interesting dynamic for the pair of them. Another lead I'll talk about is Leota, played by Danielle Brooks, who I don't think has as much to do with season 1, but she's very much, for me, the moral compass of Peacemaker, and she's got great chemistry with everybody that is in the series as well. The same with Steve Agee. So not every character has been placed in the best of circumstances for season 2. But so far, there's only one real disappointing element for me, and that has been Vigilante, played by Freddie Stromer. I loved him in the first season, and he's still very funny in the second season. I don't feel like at this point in time, which is integral because I think we're going to get a lot more of him now, I don't think there has been as much to do for his character, and he feels the least respectively in regards to having any development, which is a real shame because the performance is great, there's great comedy relief with that, but I feel like something's missing with him, and I'd love that to be something we get by the end of the season, that in these next 3 episodes, for when they air, we do get to see that from him. So that's a big thing, and this is why it's tricky to review something 5 episodes in, because we're not there yet. We don't know what the plan is, what the structure is, and that kind of sits in with what I'm going to talk about the DC, and I've got to play this so carefully because it's spoiler free. The first episode of the season has done something very interesting with the timeline. I'm not sitting here talking changes. I'm not going to list through things that have and haven't been done, but I certainly enjoy the challenge that James Gunn has been faced with by taking this from what worked before and placing it into the new DCU. I think it's a very interesting workaround. There'll be a lot of articles out to explain it. It's nothing extravagant, nothing beyond the ordinary. I just like how they've addressed it and how the show has moved on. And it takes its audience as an active audience. It doesn't take them for people that need things spelling out, not them to work out a million clues. It just takes it for what it is. If you're invested in the show, then this is how this has happened. Let's go. And that's what I'm going to say on that, because I don't want to take anything away. And we've also got something new, which is another dance sequence, which has been discussed. I know the song has been announced now. They spoke about it at San Diego Comic-Con. I love the dance scene like the first one. I'm glad we've got a new one. They're not doing the same thing again. It's great to see other members from the casts coming in different ways, and it does set up parts of the story to come characters we are yet to meet, characters we have met. And I like that it does it. It gives the show its own identity by having this crazy intro for every season. I'm not going to compare it to the first season. One of them's been around for 3 years, and we're looking at it from a completed season. The other one is, again, no one watching this at this point in time has even seen this for another week, so I'm excited to see people to get the chance to watch this. But it kind of leaves me in this sort of void of how do I end a spoiler-free review on something I've not finished. And that is the tricky thing with sometimes getting TV screeners. It's why I don't do it as much. It's left me in a position where I'm going to recommend Season 2. So far I'm enjoying it. It's more of a dramatic theme season than action. When there is action, it's great. But I've been shocked at the character development and what they've chosen to do with the story. I think that is absolutely personified by John Cena's performance. He was amazing in the show once again. Again, as a wrestling fan, as a fan of his anyway, I love seeing how his career has truly blossomed away from the ring, and knowing that we've also got his retirement run happening at the same time. To me, it sort of adds to the event of Peacemaker Season 2. Obviously, he's been doing all the red carpets appearances in the Peacemaker costume again, so I'm excited for other people to get the chance to watch it. As I said, it's not an overview yet. There will be a spoiler discussion when the season is finished, and we'll be able to go into everything, and especially those last 3 episodes that I don't know anything about. And that's where I kind of leave this review. So what is coming next? Well, it's a busy time on the channel. I need to review for Nobody 2. And I'm also going to drop a Creature Commando Season 1 review, because I like the idea of having a DCU playlist on our channel, which you can find if you go onto our homepage. There'll be a DCU playlist in there. We'll have the Superman discussions of Creature Commandos when it goes up. We'll have this and future DCU videos. We have a brand new Cinema Savvy DC logo which we're using. I don't think I put Suicide Squad and Peacemaker Season 1 in it. Maybe down the line that could be something we look at, but at this point in time they are part of the DCEU, and that's what I'm going to round out this review. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.